Hello, I'm Brigantia Blackbird of the Blackbird Grimoire. Welcome to the daily forecast for Wednesday, June 12th, 2024. On this day of Mercury, we have a waxing crescent moon. We are in Gemini season, the Celtic tree month of Oak, deer season, and Pluto retrograde. Now for specifics. The sun is Gemini, mutable air, representing communication. The moon is first quarter Virgo, mutable earth, representing being meticulous. Mercury is in Gemini, mutable air, representing insight. Venus is in Gemini, mutable air, representing the spendthrift. Mars is in Taurus, fixed earth, representing purpose. Jupiter is in Gemini, mutable air, representing questing. Saturn is in Pisces, mutable water, representing nostalgia. Uranus is in Taurus, fixed earth, representing renovation. Neptune is in Pisces, mutable water, representing imagination. Pluto is in retrograde Aquarius, fixed air, meaning we need to examine our intentions and remember the mantra of reflect, heal, and evolve. Now, for the waxing crescent, our watchwords are brainstorm, plan, and to create. So keep that in mind as you're planning the day's activities. For the Virgo moon, some of your do's are do be organized, do focus, do be strategic. But don't, if you can avoid it, job interviews. Don't be giving or really listening to undue criticism. Make sure that's not going either way, and don't get lost in perfectionism. Now, for those who have Virgo's moons or whose sun sign is Virgo, this could be an ongoing life struggle for you. So, we all feel for you, but try not to give in to your more manic instincts, because that Virgo moon is just going to encourage some results that you don't really want. So try to rein it in if you can. Now, it is the day of Mercury, and we are in Gemini Mercury, and that is urging us to go around and connecting the dots. So, if certain ideas, theories, or lines of research have really captured your interest, you're intrigued, you want to know more, go ahead, indulge your curiosity, and analyze all of the information that comes your way. Breakthrough in your understanding about something may be closer than you think. Our tarot for today is represented by the goddess Ma'at of the Egyptian pantheon, and she stands in the position of justice in the major arcana. And she, of course, represents balance. And that's really what justice is all about. It is about evening up the scales, restoring what was lost as possible, making restitution, having recompense, allowing things to be set back at zero, in neutral, so far as is possible. And justice is an extraordinarily difficult thing to do in the legal system. I mean, these days it is practically impossible. We have lots of issues with that. But even setting aside the bigger picture when it comes to trying to establish and practice justice on the secular cultural level, there's also about, are we a just individual? And now that's very difficult to be, because there really isn't anyone holding us account apart from our own conscience. And sometimes our conscience has been trained to not alert us when we are being needlessly unfair, when we are allowing our biases to cloud our judgment, when we're not really giving an idea or a person a fair hearing. A lot of times our emotional being overwhelms our rational being, and sometimes, it's not that big of a deal in the grander scheme of things, but there are other occasions when it really would have made a difference if we had decided to practice justice. And the only way we can really do that is, again, because we are answering to ourselves, to make that internal commitment and to make effort to live up to it, even when it's difficult, even when we don't necessarily feel like it. That really is the only way. If the reason why we don't see justice in our broader society is because so many people do not have justice within their hearts. Something to think about. So today's Celtic triad reads: three goodly things among people: handicraft, husbandry, and scholarship. So handicraft, that's just making decorative objects by hand, or more broadly, this would be the practicing of the arts generally. And then husbandry, that would be the care, cultivation, and breeding of crops and animals, the management and conservation of resources, a farmer in the oldest sense of the term. So again, we're going back to this theme that has been very prominent in the triads about actually tilling the soil, looking after that, earning our living off of what we are able to produce from the earth. And then we have scholarship, academic study or achievement, learning of a very high level. The reason why all of these things are praiseworthy is because all of these things are life sustaining and they are life enriching. Once we are able to actually survive, so we have the husbandry, where the crops are coming in, we are getting enough of our protein from animals and such like, once basic survival is taken care of, then we have the issues of, are we making our lives more beautiful? That's where the handicraft comes in. And then are we expanding our field of knowledge? And more importantly, are we expanding our field of understanding? That is where the scholarship really comes up. So if we are focused upon these things, if we are going about the proper business of a human being, then these are going to be our pursuits. We are going to be trying to do these things. And of course, depending upon our circumstances in life, our natural talents and situation in life, we will be pursuing these things to different degrees. And again, depending upon individual circumstances. But the main thing is to keep these things in our field of vision right in front of us, saying this is what I should be pursuing. I should be focused upon productive, meaningful pursuits, not the crap that people get lost in, not just aimlessly going through life with no particular purpose. This is about being productive, doing things with intention, and trying to build things up to better circumstances. Now, today's magical intention is hope. For this, we have the color white, the plant of the violet, and I found a white violet for it. I believe that's actually a Canadian form of wild violet, in case anyone's interested. The animal is the heron, and the crystal is the moonstone. Now, when it comes to hope, more often than not, I hear people describing this in external terms. They're getting hope from something outside of themselves, whether they are getting their hope from their religious beliefs, or they're getting hopes from what they think is going to happen in society, or they see some kind of leader, and that leader gives them hope. However, for those of us who are witches and wizards, we can brew up hope in our cauldrons and a myriad of other ways. We can create hope. We are not dependent upon those external sources. And I think this is something for us to keep in mind more and more, because even those who aren't practicing the craft, you may not be magically creating hope and infusing that and putting that out into the universe. However, you can learn to look within yourself to gain confidence and to build up your hope from, well, I can't answer for what the rest of the world is going to do, but I've decided what I am going to do, and imposing that will out into the universe and doing something productive with it and saying, it is easy to destroy. It is easy to break things. It's easy to make a mess. It's much harder to build. It's much harder to try to do something that isn't, about wallowing in the depths of despair. That is much harder. It requires effort. And everyone, regardless of their magical capacity or lack thereof, everyone can do that. But for those of us who do have that greater aptitude, then we can practice magic at a more broader level, on a deeper level. Those of us who do have that capability, we should be really at our work during times like these. We should be putting forth that force into the universe, because people need hope. They need hope more than they need food sometimes. Now, for today's pagan practice, this is a good day to honor a deity associated with wisdom, and to also work upon your heart chakra, learn something new about your Mercury sign. You might try a divination spread. Wednesdays are always a good day for that. And I found this one on Pinterest. It's titled, "This Too Shall Pass." Then see, at the bottom you have, three cards. You have "To move forward, I must." That's one card. The next is "I need what I need to remember," and then "What I need to gain from this." And then you go up one level, and it's "The lessons," and then "Who will support me," and then up at the top, a message of hope. So if you are struggling a little bit, this is something that I think you might be able to try out. Just kind of rebalance your perspective, look at things a little bit differently than perhaps you were had before. You may have resources and support available to you that perhaps, I don't want to say take for granted, but you're not consciously aware of it. It's so much a part of your landscape. And this could draw your attention to those resources and to that support system. And then from there, you can really start to move forward in a meaningful way. And, any challenges that you might face, any things we might see in the news that's upsetting, it's not going to drag down your spirit as much, because you have this to focus on. So give it a try. Let me know if you do. I would love to hear, what you got, what insights you got from it. And then the last thing we might do today is to read from Marcus Aurelius's Meditations. Now, last of all for today, at the journal prompt, what and or who do you consider to be a legitimate source of wisdom? This is definitely one of those journal prompts. You can't look it up. There's no book for you to consult. There's no external source that you can really find this answer to, because it's about looking within and saying, what and who do you really lend credibility towards, and for what reasons? Sometimes we put our trust in people and in ideas and ways of looking at the universe that are absolutely legitimate. They have a very good track record, and it isn't about perfection. It's about, is there an overall pattern of wisdom and beneficial advice that's coming from that particular source. And then there are other times where perhaps we placed our trust in something or someone rashly, unthinkingly, without really examining the quality of their ideas. This is an opportunity for us to look at that and just to acknowledge, because in addition to hope, one of the things that I think goes along with hope is trust, and having something or someone who is actually worthy of that trust. Because it's very difficult to think about, rebuilding or redressing wrongs or doing anything that of practical improvement if you're looking around and like thinking, I don't really trust anyone. I don't trust any of these ideas. I don't really buy into any of this. You're not going to get very far. That is a recipe for stagnation, and worse, for degradation, because that which is not living is dying. And so it is important where we do seek solace from, where we do seek wisdom from, and who we actually trust. It matters a great deal. Well, that is what I have for you today. Bit heavy for a Wednesday, but I'm sure we'll get through it. Let me know what you think about all this in the comment section below. I'd be happy to hear from you. And of course, I will see you guys in the next one. So, bye.